Hey, this is Monty Colvin from Monty's Rockcast and the band Galactic Cowboys. Now, what some people don't know is I'm also an artist extraordinaire. If you're looking for some art that rocks, check out my website, montycolvinart.com.
It is Aftershocks right here on Aftershocks TV, and joining us today to talk about his great new album from the band Buckcherry. It is called HELLBOUND. It is the vocalist of Buckcherry himself. It is Mr. Josh Todd. Josh, how are you, man?
What's up, man? I'm great. I'm sitting at home right now, but about to head out on this HELLBOUND tour. It starts first show back is June 1st, and it's an amazing record. Can't wait for it to drop. It drops June 25th, and you can pre-order it right now, and we're really proud of it.
Well, let's talk about it, man. I'm a big believer that there's nothing that can derail Buckcherry. And if ever there's been proof of that, it's right now. I mean, you overcame two more member changes, and anybody that knows your history knows there's a long list of guys that have been in the band, and a pandemic, and you still recorded one of the best albums that you've done in your career, and certainly, if nothing else, one of the most consistent records of your career, man. So talk a little bit about that for you, man. What is it about you that stays so in the box no matter what is going on?
I mean, really passion. I started this whole thing on the edge of my bed, just writing demos on a 4-track machine. That's where it all started, like I want to say it was 97, 96 or something. And here I am, the last man standing, as far as that original band lineup was. It's something I never could have seen coming. All the people that have left, this band left on their own. They wanted to leave. There's nothing you can do about that. So we just got better over time. Every time there's been a lineup change, the records have gotten better, and we dug deeper, and we've overcome so much adversity. And Stevie's been in the band since 2005. He's still in the band, and Kelly's been in the band over 7 years, and Francis has been, I want to say, 4 years now. Mm-hmm. So, it's not like there's a lot of new faces. It's just Billy Rowe, and he was in Jet Boy, and I think he still does Jet Boy shows, and just a great guy. We're really enjoying him.
Sure. Now for you, Josh, is the one thing that has been a hallmark of Buckcherry is you've really avoided the temptation to experiment with the sound. I'm not saying that there's not growth from record to record. There certainly is. But if you hear 15 and you hear today's record or you hear the Fuck record, they all fit. They all fit well. And that's rare for somebody that's been doing it as long as you have and has as many albums as you do. So what do you think it is about you as a writer that just stays in the pocket and doesn't try to do an industrial record or stuff like that?
Yeah, I think it's, I don't want to toot my own horn, but I think it's me. It's all my words. It's out of my head. Every single song that Buckcherry has written has come from my head, all the words. So it's kind of unique to me. And, I grew up in Orange County, California, and my record foundation was independent punk rock records, and they had no rules, and it was very raw and real and honest, and that's what I wanted to be, and I think that that's kind of the it doesn't have a lot of bells and whistles, Buckcherry, and that's because we wanted it to translate live really well, and we kind of based our reputation on live shows, and just stuck to what works, and it's really about good songs. It doesn't matter how much production you put on a song, or if you're going to tune down to whatever C, and play some heavy stuff. If you don't have a song, nobody remembers it. It's not, you're not going to have a career, so it really comes down to songs. And I feel like we work really hard on songs, and this Hellbound record it's probably, I'm not saying this because we're just about to release it, but it's probably our best record.
Sure. Are you a an always writing guy, or are you somebody that does not write and then waits until it's time to start working on a record to start writing and putting ideas together?
Yeah, I'm like I'm a workaholic. When I crack that seal, as far as like when I know that I got to make a record, then the floodgates open, and I don't want to stop until it's done. But it does seem like songwriting is the only thing I can do in moderation, because once the record's over with, I'm mentally, physically taxed, and that's all I got. And then I want to get away from it for a while. But what I do in between writing songs is it's always on my radar. So I'm listening to a lot of songs. Like, I can't listen to songs with vocals and not be analyzing the song structure, the lyrics, the melodies. I just go into that mode automatically. That's why I like, a lot of times I'll listen to kind of like chill house music with no vocals, just because I don't want to think about the song, so what I do is I study song structures, and I listen to only great songs. I only want to hear hit songs, and then I accumulate titles too over time. I read a lot of books, because lyric writing and songwriting is storytelling, and so I read books because I wanted to enhance my storytelling, and it does. So that's what I do in between.
Sure. And the one thing, and it's interesting that you say that, because the one thing that I always find to be a hallmark of Buckcherry is you can take pretty much any song and you could plug it in on a radio playlist anywhere, any front. I mean, there's a few, obviously. There's the one album that probably wouldn't work that way, but almost every song is a potential radio hit. And I don't think you do that pretentiously or on purpose. I think you really it's just how you write. You write what works for the masses. Do you agree, or do you try to write radio hits?
I want to write songs that you can remember. So, radio hits or whatever. I just, it, I know what being in front of an audience is like. I know what being an audience member is like. And if you can't really retain a melody, then it's not really a good song, in my opinion, so I want all the records to, have you take a journey, when you start it and you finish it, and hopefully, that's what we've tried to do on every Buckcherry record. Some of them I feel like were too long in the past, I think 10 songs is it, I don't ever want to make another 13 song or 12 song record. It's too much for a listener. Even if all the songs are great, nobody sits down and listens to over 45 minutes of one artist anymore. It's like, not unless you're like a super fan.
Right. No, you're right. And well, I can guarantee you people are going to listen to all 10 of these songs, because it's an excellent release. Songs like Hellbound or No More Lies is probably my favorite at the moment, as far as just, it hooks you in and it pulls you in. For you, with the pandemic and with everything being so different this time, was it different the way you had to write and craft music, or did you do it the exact same way you always have?
No, the exact same way. Nothing stopped for me. Stevie lives 15 minutes from me. So we just started, building a house. That's what I like to call it. We have no fountain, we just, all we have is a concrete slab, and we're just building a house, and so he'll send me music and I'll start writing, like verse, chorus, and then I'll go to his house and we'll record a demo, and then we'll beat it into shape. If it doesn't sound great after a few days, then we'll go revisit it and make it better, or maybe we'll just put it on the back burner and just get on with something else. And we starting doing stuff that way, and then once we have like 2 or 3 songs, then we're like, ooh, we start feeling the energy, and we're checking in with each other like literally all day long, because we're our own motivators. Nobody can hear it yet, so that's how we did it. Stevie's a really talented guy. We kind of developed our songwriting language when we made the Josh Todd and the Conflict record.
Right.
And so this is the 3rd record that we've written together, and man, it's we did co-write 5 of the 10 songs with Marty Fredrickson as well, and we wrote with him in the past, and it was really great to get in a room with him as well, and he produced the record, and it's just so fun to work with him, because he's really good with vocalists, and he always wants to do what's best for the song, and that's the most important thing. So that's what we all want.
Sure. Now, Josh, the first tune that you've shared with the audience is So Hot, and I got to say, from watching the video, you ain't lying. That girl is so hot. I mean, Jesus. Talk a little bit about that song, and where did you find that girl? Jeez.
We found her. I wanted somebody that had a big social media following. Of course, we couldn't get somebody that had millions of people, because they want more money.
Right.
But our goal was over like 100,000, and Rhea had over 100,000, and she looked the part, and did such a great job. She showed up and did a great job. She actually shot that. I haven't even met her. She shot that in Vegas with the director. He lives there, so she did all her part there, and then we did the performance part in Los Angeles, and it just turned out so good. Yeah. So the whole meaning behind the song is like, it's getting so you don't have to leave your small town if you want to be like a superstar. You can just, because of technology, you can just start building a following online, and we see it with all kinds of people. They're making millions, becoming YouTube stars or whatever. Look at the Kardashians when they started. So anyways, it's about like a small town girl that's like kind of awkward in her adolescence. When she becomes a young lady, she finds out that she's, that she can be as hot as these other girls that got these huge social media numbers. So she just starts experimenting and going for it. And that's what the video shows. It just shows her like kind of finding her herself throughout the video, and becoming and having this huge following.
No question, man. Well, Josh, I want to move forward to touring a little bit. You're well aware, as I am, most bands that are out there today working, they're announcing 4 shows, 10 shows, 15 shows. Here you come announcing 100 shows. You're pretending that COVID didn't happen, which bravo to you. Obviously, man, it's great that you booked it like you would any other time, man. So talk not so much about booking a long tour, because that's obviously what Buckcherry does, but how difficult was it this time to book a tour with the promoters and everybody being so, I don't want to say scared, but not necessarily, just, I guess the environment is new for promoters, and to book a long tour like that, I have to imagine was a lot more work, either for you or your agents or whoever did it.
Yeah, well, first of all, I'm totally sensitive to the COVID issue. It had nothing to do with like anything in that regard. We're all vaccinated. We've done shows in the past. We've already done shows this year. We did shows in 2020. We followed safety protocol. We showed up and did it, and people were socially distanced, and we did shows. And it wasn't a lot of shows last year, but and now, we've just been blessed. America has been blessed with a good vaccine rollout. A lot of people are vaccinated, and then we're going into the summer as well. So a lot of these shows are outdoors, so people can be socially distance. As you know, every state has different regulations.
Sure.
So we take all that into consideration, and this is our livelihood. We got to show up and do it. We're used to doing over 200 shows a year. So
Right.
105 shows till November is, starting June 1st is like, it's not a big deal,
Right. Sure. Have you or will you change how you perform? Because I've seen you perform a number of times, and you're definitely reach out and slap hands and hug fans and talk to people and take photos kind of a guy, or you always have been. Is that
Yeah.
changing now because of the everything that's gone on?
Yeah, I think the CDC has even said a lot of stuff. All I know is that what I'm dealing with here in California, we had some of the strictest regulations, and then, we also had some of the greatest vaccine rollout, compared to some of the other states. And now the CDC is saying that we don't have to. Those who are vaccinated don't have to wear masks, around town and all of that, which is really nice. I mean, we're all still doing it. I do it for everybody else. I want to be courteous to everybody. I don't think that I'm not going to get COVID because I'm vaccinated. I don't think anything about that. I'm not going to go shake hundreds of people's hands and do all that either. I've always been pretty conscious of washing my hands a lot. As a singer, I've had to do that. And as a singer, I started masking on airplanes way before COVID because I did an experiment. I used to go to Europe all the time, and it would be like clockwork. I would be in a plane for 11 hours, and I would get out and I would start singing. And 3 days later, I would have a sore throat and I would start getting sick. And I'm like, I got that from the plane. I knew I got it from the plane. So I started masking on planes. My whole plan was, okay, if it's over a 4-hour flight, I'm going to mask. And I started doing that. And I haven't been, knock on wood, I haven't been sick in like over 2 years. So it really helps on planes because it's a fuselage that's sealed up.
Right.
And it's just recycled air. And if somebody's coughing or sneezing, it's just, I just think it's a good idea to mask on planes regardless, for me, because my body is my instrument. But, so I don't want to live in fear, and I've seen a lot of people with COVID. I actually worked while I was home, as an essential worker when I was home for 4 months in Los Angeles.
Okay.
And so I know I've seen a lot of it, and I've handled a lot of it in my hands. So I know what it is, and I'm sensitive to it, very sensitive to it. And I'm just going to do everything I can to, look out, and the band and the crew as well. I mean, basically we're isolated from everything until that hour and a half on stage. And that's the only time we don't have masks. And then we go back to being in our bus with everybody that we know that's vaccinated. We don't have anybody in our bus.
Right. Certainly. Well, it's certainly great that you guys are getting out there and playing, basically for everybody across the country. You're one of the very first bands to announce it and do it. And that should be applauded. Again, it starts in June, and people should definitely go to buckcherry.com to find out when they'll be in your city. And real quick, Josh, before I let you go, I want to ask you something that I've meant to ask you the last 2 times I've talked to you. And this is something that's like 20 years old. So forgive me if it's a shit question, but I loved when you appeared on The Shield, when you were in the Cherry Poppers episode on The Shield.
Yeah, that was fun.
But I thought you did a great job on it, but I was surprised that you didn't actually pursue a lot more acting. It just seemed like, I know that's a small part, but it did seem like you could play that kind of a character for a lot of different roles. I'm surprised that you haven't taken it further that way. Is it just time because you're always busy, or did you try and just didn't get the bite that you wanted, or what?
No, I mean, I did a lot of stuff during that time. That was actually given to me, that role, by a guy named DJ Caruso. He directed that episode. That's why he had me in. My very first film was with him, The Salton Sea. He directed that film. That was his first film. So he had me back, and he had me in Eagle Eye too. I mean, he's a big reason why I got to do it again and again. And the problem that I had was I would get a theatrical agent, and then I would go out on the road for months, and I just couldn't show up and for auditions or do anything. And so then I would lose my theatrical agent. So then I would come home and I didn't have anybody representing me. I still don't, you know? So all the roles that I got, you can IMDb me. I did a lot of stuff at that point in time, but it was all kind of through my relationships, you know, like DJ Caruso had me back, and then, you know, some other roles came to me kind of from just people like who I am in music, and they wanted to have me in their film. And it just kind of came naturally to me. I would love to do something more challenging, you know, a bigger role with, you know, that I could incorporate more of myself into the character. That would be great.
No doubt. Well, and it's certainly a career thing that maybe if there's ever a time that you finally set Buckcherry down, maybe that's the next path, man. But somehow I doubt that's even on your mind right now.
No, the thing that I don't like about acting is auditioning. It's just like, well, now it's a lot cooler because so many people are doing auditions now just from their home, you know, with a camera, and they're just shooting it and sending it out. But like before, you had to like spend half a day driving to Santa Monica and sitting around while all these other starving actors are like sitting there waiting for their turn. And it just became a whole lot of nonsense, you know, just to get the job. You know, the job was actually easier than the audition, you know. So that's the thing I didn't really enjoy.
Right. I hear you, man. Well, the one thing that I'm enjoying is this brand new release. It's called HELLBOUND. It is, of course, Buckcherry. And Josh, where should we send people to keep up with you and find tour dates and all that stuff?
Yeah, just go to buckcherry.com and you can pre-order the record there. You can get bundles as well. You know, we have vinyl too available. You can check that out. And then you can also pre-order it on all platforms that sell digital music. You know, I mean, it's a great song. It's a great record. And we are dropping the title track this month.
Excellent.
We got a great video, and the song's called HELLBOUND. It's one of my favorite rockers on the song. So, I mean, on the record. So look out for that.
Very cool, man. Well, once again, the new album is called HELLBOUND. It is Buckcherry. It's out June 25th. And Josh, thanks so much for joining us here on Aftershocks.
Thank you, man. Be good.
Thanks for listening to Aftershocks. For more episodes, go to our website at www.aftershockspodcast.com. Visit us on our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter pages for more news and information on the podcast. And be sure to subscribe, listen to, and review all episodes on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all other podcast platforms. For your music listening pleasure, visit our website or go to www.shockwavesradio.com. For all comments and questions, please email us at info@aftershockspodcast.com.
All right, everybody, another great interview right here on Aftershocks TV. And before we go, just want to remind you one more time, make sure you get over and subscribe to the CMS Podcast Network, CMSPN.com. You can watch, you can listen, you can subscribe to everything that we do, not only us, but the classic metal shows, Shockwave Skull Sessions, Talk to Me. It's all there, one site, get 4 great shows, never have to do anything again but be entertained. So check it out, CMSPN.com, CMSPN.com, CMSPN.com. Until next time, folks.